Now, for anybody who's been watching me for any length of time, this is probably going to be a flabbergaster, right? Your flabbers will indeed be gasted by the next statement I'm about to make. I believe in segregation. That's right. I believe we're better off apart than we are together. Now, hear me out. I don't believe in segregation on the basis of race or quote unquote ethnicity. I don't believe it on the basis of superficial aspects, but instead on ideology, instead on virtues or values, instead on principles. I believe that there should be a division between those who believe, let's say, in this idea of the free market and those who believe themselves to be quote unquote communists, the social media socialist, comment section, communist type of individuals. I believe there should be a separation between, the normal brained and the smooth brained, right? Those who see themselves as liberals or progressives or whatever else it may be. Now, if they happen to be a certain color, so be it. But I believe that quote unquote black folk and quote unquote white folk can get together and really make things happen so long as we don't have, a certain type of somebody in the mix. They can do their own thing and we do our own. So that being said, let's get into the conversation of segregation, probably from a different point of view. But I saw this video, and anytime the subject comes up, I'm real curious to hear where this is going. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Actually segregating whites and blacks. And I actually told them straight up, honestly, I would love that. Now, they looked at me like I was crazy, and they almost spit up their almond milk. And I think they thought that maybe I was saying that out of hatred, but it really isn't about hatred. Here's the thing. I'm not talking about their version of segregation. See, I'm talking about our version of righteous separation, spiritual sovereignty, and black sufficiency. See, the truth of it is that integration was never about freedom. It was finesse. It was a system's way of saying, let's stop them from succeeding independently so we can profit from their brilliance directly. It was about control. And so I want us to be...
Folks, I tried. We are 50 seconds in, and I tried my best. Lord knows, if you've been watching me for a while, every 2 to 5 seconds, I'm probably going to stop the damn video. But I can't take it any further. So here's the thing. There are two schools of thought. There's one that the entire Civil War was on the basis of economics and economics alone, right? It had nothing to do with race. It had nothing to do with, all men are created equal. It had nothing to do with human dignity and human rights. I happen to be a believer in the second camp, which is it had something to do with economics, something to do with politics, and also something to do with human rights, something to do with what this country represents and has been the best representation of, which is all men are created equal. Now, has it always looked that way? No, I'd be lying if I said it did. But for a majority of the lives that we have lived, if you're watching this right now, it is likely that you were born into a time, a space where all men are created equal is a real thing, which is a rarity still in the entirety of this globe. If you go to most places in this world, that is not necessarily the case. It's not going to be all men. Not everybody can climb up the rankings. Not everybody can actually succeed, whatever that may mean for you. So as far as the abolition of slavery, who else did it? Besides the British, who stopped the slave trade at a certain point and weren't even willing to have that relationship with the African slavers, the African slave traders at the time. Who else did it? The United States lost hundreds of thousands of lives of white folks as well as black folks who are fighting on the basis of this one issue. And that's a reality. So I was kind of tracking where she was going for a second, but then this always seems to come up. It's always back to victimhood. But then she's also saying, well, sovereignty, and we got to use our own talents and gifts. Look, nobody has ever stopped you from doing exactly that. Even during the time of the 13th Amendment, etc., nobody stopped black folks from going to Liberia that started to open up, right? Nobody was stopping you from literally taking ships and going back to Africa. Nobody was doing that. There was a choice and a decision made by those who came out of that to say, I'm going to build a greater life for myself here and make a home here. And that's the very same reality to this day. People by the hundreds of millions are trying to come here.
Very clear about this, we were never separate but equal. So that's a lie. We were separate and excelling. We had our own schools, we had our own banks, we had our own businesses, and baby, we were thriving. Black Wall Street, they burned it. Rosewood.
I knew Black Wall Street was going to come up. I'm going to do an entire segment just on Black Wall Street. I don't know if you guys know about this, but essentially the best way I heard it put was by Frank Zanu. Black Wall Street was the equivalent, like it was a multitude of stores. That's what Black Wall Street actually was. It wasn't this sophisticated sort of, economic base in the same way Wall Street has become. Though I'm not the biggest fan of all that Wall Street represents and what it's done, I still got money in the markets. But nevertheless, Black Wall Street, that was quote unquote burnt down by all white people. First and foremost, you have to get specific. Who did it? It was likely the members of the Democratic Party who were looking to continue to perpetuate the very same, keep black people in the place that we believe they should be. Same mentality as they have today. So that was burnt down. Guess what else was burnt down? A multitude of people's civilizations. People's history has been burnt down, destroyed, unrecognizable. And some have built back and others have never recovered. And for me, I would look at the ones who built back and say, what did they do different? As opposed to continuing to harp on this one specific, again, that's a beautiful thing. That black folks are thriving. I bring this up all the time to say, look at the cultural elements. Look at how family was respected, how family was the nucleus of the society, and the community actually meant something, right? And the entrepreneurial, innovative mindset was more frequent than not. There wasn't this overarching victimhood mentality. But that started seeping in, come 1960s. That started seeping into the community. And you could say, well, yeah, it was because of integration. Was it really? Or was it because of the mindset that was being carried into quote unquote integration? Right? Because I say you can integrate people or you can bring people together, but is there assimilation? Is there a relationship that they're building? Are they in a place where they actually see eye to eye as far as their values, as far as what they see as admirable and what they see as taboo? That's when you start to truly work together. And we have been working together for a very long time, black folk and white folk. I hear these stories on a daily basis. It's just unfortunate we fell for the propaganda.
They bombed it. Wilmington, they overthrew it. Why? Because we were doing too well without them and they couldn't handle that. And so that's the truth. They didn't really want segregation gone. They wanted control. This is why we know that integration was just repackage of chains. When we were separate, we actually were building and excelling. And when they saw that we could excel without them, then it was like, oh no.
If this were true, then where is the vast new empire, the modern civilization within a continent, the largest continent in the world, with more than 50 countries? Countries, not states, not provinces, countries. Where is it? Where can we point to a real life Wakanda right now? If this were to be the truth. I'm not saying that, again, there is not history. Trust me, I know my history. Fortunately, I know my history because I happen to know my exact lineage. I am directly from the quote unquote motherland, born in Zimbabwe. My father came right out of colonial Zimbabwe or Rhodesia to Zimbabwe. So I'm connected to that and attached to it, but I'm honest about it. In modern history, where has it been? Well, the white man has made it so that we can. No. Everybody had the ability to create. Everybody had the ability to build. Everybody had the ability to enslave. And most did, and some are still doing it to this day. That's the part that I really get tired of is, again, the disingenuous arguments. If we could just be honest about it, and I know it's triggering sometimes. You know, the truth can be the most offensive thing when you are so addicted to the lies. But we got to tell the truth if there's actually going to be the building, the reconciliation. Like, it's still going to be white people's problem, white people's fault. Then what happens when you do separate? You think it's just going to magically appear? Go look at Zimbabwe. Go look at South Africa. What's going on right now?
We got to take control and make sure that their labor is profiting us. So right around that time, they rolled out this whole standardized testing, ACT and SAT. Y'all remember that? They created this IQ ranking to measure their norms, not our brilliance. And then we were said we were behind when we really weren't. We were just building our own lane, not asking for theirs. See, I don't know about you all, but I'm kind of tired of the lies. It's very exhausting, you know, just the lies that continue to be promoted. And I want to talk about...
Me too. Again, this is how you prove, like, there's this argument of, well, black people basically created everything. The technology that we're using today, it came from black people, Okay, fantastic. Then do it again. Because if you did it before, then you can do it again. Build the infrastructure, build the technology, do it. Real simple. Look, I want to believe you. I want to believe you when you say that your lineage is kings and queens, that you're the inventor of you know, the modern world. But I can't because I don't see it anywhere else. Nobody is stopping you from leaving here and going to a majoritively, quote unquote, black country. I don't see it. I don't see any movement. I don't see any decisions being made. I see individuals who are looking to build, individuals on the continent, individuals, you know, who come overseas. And I see that. But I don't see this collective movement from these individuals who claim, you know, to be the creators of this thing. I don't have to lie. Like, my ego is not that big, and I'm not that damn insecure to say I need to know that my people built everything. No, it doesn't matter. What matters is what I'm going to do with my life now. That's what I'm focused and fixated on.
The melanin, because this whole thing that we're not smart enough, that we're not bright enough, is simply just a lie. And so, you know, all this testing that they're doing, and I have kids in school, and they're made to feel that they cannot achieve, and I have to remind them about their actual superpower, melanin. See, not just your skin tone, but in your brain, specifically neuromelanin, that rich dark pigment found in areas like the substantia nigra, which are critical for learning and memory and decision making. And
so if this is the case, then why are the kids struggling? I'm not going to put it on ethnicity or race. I'm going to put it exactly where it's supposed to be. I'm going to put it on what the culture is promoting and what it is favoring. What is it prioritizing? That's what it is. You don't prioritize education, so you don't get the same results. Why is it that Asians disproportionately perform in these areas of STEM, etc.? It's because in a household, that's your only option. That's what you're going to do. You know what I mean? That's what you're going to do. So if there's this, you know, the melanin centers in the brain, and, you know, they give a wider capacity of an ability to learn, then why are the results showing the exact opposite? Let's tell the damn truth so we can solve the damn problem.
Emotional regulation. See, if you don't know, then you won't know how to respond. But when you learn about the studies that have actually linked the neuromelanin to higher concentrations and how it's related to enhanced memory and processing and higher intelligence and faster reaction times, then you know why they have hidden this information for so long. Because when you have higher melanin, you have stronger brain resilience against degenerative diseases. So translation to that is melanin doesn't just make you glow, it makes you grow. So we know that it's not coincidental that people with more melanin have historically been creators, inventors, innovators across every discipline, while also being the most suppressed, because they know.
Then do it. Build the damn microchips. Build the damn microprocessor. Then just do it. Build Wakanda. Please. Please.
That the more melanin you have in your body and in your brain actually produces higher intelligence. So the Bible also says this too in 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verses 7. It says he placed treasures in earthen vessels. What treasures? It was in us all along, right? So we have more melanin, and we know that people with less melanin, because it's a recessive gene and it's a mutation, lack the same level.
How is that not the very same thing as when they were pushing this idea that black people's skulls are shaped different and the brain structure is different and it's a smaller brain and smaller prefrontal cortex? How is this any different? Did you hear what she just said? She's saying that your melanin makes you superior. This is black superiority. Y'all didn't know black supremacy existed, did you? This is black supremacy. She's a black supremacist, even though she's also insecure at the same time. It's a very, very strange thing. It's like, we are supreme, but we're also losing and we're suppressed. Sounds like the little mustache man. We are supreme. We are the best. But you're losing. But you feel disenfranchised. If you would, you would. Build it then. Nobody's stopping you from building Wakanda, Wakanda, Ashwagandha forever. Nobody is. I dare you. Build it. I dare. Look, hopefully this can inspire you. Build it.
Of intelligence, of many different benefits that come along with that. What's so interesting about it is that we're supposed to be looking at this as if it's something negative. But why is it negative when every other cultural group does this? Group economics. See, the truth of the matter is they have stolen from us so many different things, and yet we still survive. And so I don't want to offend, but I have to be blunt here. When we invented it, they patented it. When we built it, they banked on it. So everything we created, they...
George Washington Carver. Peanut. Build it. We don't believe you. Build it. But then you're going to blame white supremacy and the white man. So you're saying that he's superior. Why would the superior race, as you say, the melanated folk, why would they not just overcome this recessive gene, as you say? Why? Why?
He made sure they benefited off of it. Just like Louis Latimer.
This is a tough one.
He actually developed the light bulb, but Edison got all the...
How you invent it, but you can't even say it? How did you invent it, but you can't even say the word? He invented the light what? The light bulb? He invented who? The light bulb. Okay.
Story for it. And this has been going on through history. We know that Granville T. Woods laid the foundation for trains. Corporations got the contracts. Dr. Patricia Bath revolutionized eye surgery. The system licensed the tech. Black music became white record labels, billion-dollar industries off of our talent.
Then stop taking the check. Build your own. You know what's funny to me? I want to harp on that for a second, then we're out of here because this is enough for the year. You know what's funny to me is nobody ever likes to talk about the fact that the very same artists who are so disenfranchised, who's paying them? Who's supporting their craft? You know, some people say, wow, you pander to white people. You pander to white people. You pander to the white man, right? Okay, so you're an artist, you're a rapper, right? You are the voice of the streets, but you have an 80% white audience who pays your bills. You have a record label, likely Caucasian, white adjacent, paying your bills. Your marketing team, your finance team, your sales team, your PR, white folks. Interesting. Some food for thought. So segregation will indeed be a wonderful thing when we separate ourselves from the victim-minded and those who are willing to get off their aces and get something done. I'd vote for that. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 365, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising.